Hello artists! Today we're going to be starting the covers of our sketchbooks, and our sketchbook covers this year are going to include our initial. Our initial is the letter that begins our name. The word initial comes from the Latin word initialis, which means standing at the beginning. In older books, the first letter on a page, or maybe of the book itself, or paragraphs, is often ornately decorated, like the one that you see here, and may have images inside or around them. And that big letter that you see right there, that is known as a historiated initial. These were invented in the 8th century in the British Isles and often included plants, animals, or humans in specific scenes. One of the most famous ones comes from the Book of Kells, which is considered Ireland's greatest national treasure. The size, fanciness, and colors of these works reflected both the importance of the books and also the importance of their owners. Because at the time, the people who could afford to have their books have illustrations and artists paint with gold or silver, those were people who had status. And everybody else might have had simpler covers or simpler letters to illustrate their books. Your sketchbooks are going to have an initial on them, and we're going to draw from our pattern making and our zentangling to create some really sophisticated and simple pattern combinations. Take a look at this one, how these simple spirals, when they repeat and start to overlap, plus a little shading, start to create a little three-dimensionality. Or these neat patterns, which are super flexible and allow for you to make tons of mistakes and for your lines to go places you don't expect, because you can just add to these patterns or kind of make them up as you go, and as long as they repeat, it's a pattern. Now in this picture, you'll notice that the space around the initial is the space that the artist has decorated. That's using the negative space to decorate and leaving the positive space, that letter M, largely undecorated. So we see that initial because the negative space has been what's filled in with pattern. Let's contrast that with this initial, where the artist has done almost exactly the opposite, filling those cool patterns and designs into the center of the initial, leaving the negative space around it largely undecorated. This artist has also gone in and added a pretty cool border, but left the work black and white. Now you don't need to leave your work black and white. Here's an artist who has combined both black and white and also color by leaving the inside space of the initial black and white and including some quotes and a little self-portrait around the initial. Today you're going to be starting with just a simple outline of your initial. Once you have that simple outline, start adding some designs inside it or around it. Continue adding some designs inside or around it. I added a bunch of flowers, some swirls, some repeating dot patterns, some matchstick zentangle patterns. And as you work on these, you could even start to add some color. And I added my color outside of my initial, so the inside of my initial, the color would be really just monotone, two-tone, black and white. Did some shading with my Sharpie and some fine lines inside. You'll decide, because this is your sketchbook cover. Please make sure your name is on the top left corner.